Hello, and welcome to Film with Family. I'm Austin.
And I'm Zach.
And we're two cousins talking about movies. This week, we're talking about the 2017 Greta Gerwig's breakthrough debut film, Ladybird, starring Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet.
Don't forget Laurie Metcalf.
Or Tracy Letts.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
Great cast. And today we are joined by two members of our family. Natanya Zweifler, me and Zach's auntie in Colorado, and her daughter, our cousin, Olivia Welsh. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for being on the pod. We are continuing Mom Month all May long, and so this is our first mom and daughter duo, which is very exciting.
Yes.
I'm honored.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. This movie could not be more perfect for you two.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just real quick give a synopsis of Ladybird for those who haven't seen it. Basically, it's a coming-of-age film set in Sacramento, California.
2002. It's a period piece.
It is a period piece from 2002. You got a lot of Iraq War stuff going on in the background. The film just aesthetically feels very early 2000s. It's about basically a high school story about a girl and her friends and the guys she's dating and her family, her mom and her dad. And she is 17 going on 18, going to college and graduating from high school. And that's what's happening in your life right now, Olivia.
It is.
So can you tell us a little bit about your situation right now? You're 17, right? Or 18?
I'm 18. I turned 18 in November.
Amazing. How does it feel? You're like about to graduate high school. You're about to go to college. Tell us what college you're about to go to. I know you just got accepted.
Yes. So I don't know if either of you guys know, but I did commit to University of Miami in Florida.
Woo!
Wow.
I'll be really close to or like 3 or 4 hours away from Austin's mom, my Aunt Lizzie, my mom's older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited. I just found a roommate too. Like the other day we just made it official. It's like the process is probably a lot different from when you guys had to get roommates. Like I don't know if you guys were randomly assigned, but for us we can choose to be randomly assigned, but we also just go on to like these Instagram pages with like a bunch of different people's posts, and you just text a bunch of people, and it's very, I guess what could be like relative to you guys is like online dating. It's exactly the same. It's very similar.
Tinder for roommates.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, sometimes you get ghosted by people, sometimes they don't respond to you at all. Sometimes you're like, this person just does not seem right. But yeah, it was actually, I saw this movie like when it first came out, and I guess when I was rewatching it last night, I didn't really put the pieces together that like she was a senior. Like I knew she was going to college, but I just wasn't like, yeah, like I'm in the same exact like position as she is. So that was really fun to like rewatch it and like see it through like the same lens or like different lens from when I was younger, but same lens as Saoirse Ronan's character Ladybird.
Yeah, and like her like picking the colleges is like a big part of the movie, and like her like getting the letters, the acceptance letters or the denial letters. Like it's all in the movie.
It also reminds me a lot of some of my friends' relationships with their parents and the way that their college like acceptance and like rejection experience is like very similar to, I feel like, some of my friends' relationships with their parents and how like the whole like the stress of it all.
And Natanya, you're also a nurse.
Yeah.
And Laurie Metcalf's character is a nurse.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? I mean, it's just like there's so many parallels.
It is so many parallels. It's crazy. I think watching it was really great last night with Livy. There's some conflict over her, where she ultimately wants to go, East
Mhm.
Coast, and the mom is not happy about it. Where I was like, Miami, are you freaking kidding me? Little tension at times with that,
Yeah.
but we did, I'm really excited for her. It's going to be an adventure, and but yeah, I could relate to a lot of it. The characters are great.
I was just wondering if either of you guys had ever seen it before. Because I think when Austin, when your mom, like she gets all the like movies before they actually come out into like the theaters and stuff, I think we
Yeah.
got the CD from her.
Yeah, yeah. Like we got because this movie was nominated for Best Picture in 2018. So yeah, I'm sure it was in the pile of screeners that my mom would get for being in the Screen Actors Guild.
I think I was nominated for best screenplay, original screenplay as well.
It got a few nominations and no wins, unfortunately. It did win Best Picture that year at the Golden Globes, though.
Oh, nice.
Saoirse Ronan, I think, won for Best Actress.
So had you guys watched it before, or was this the first?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I saw it when it first came out, probably from a screener as well. I remember watching it and not really being that affected by it. Like, I think I was a little, I don't know, I was a little turned off by like how much hype it was getting because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like at the time, like everyone was like, this is the greatest movie ever made. Everyone was calling it a perfect film. It literally had like 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes, which at the time, like it dethroned Toy Story 2.
Mm.
Hence your dislike.
Yeah, hence to my great displeasure.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
I'm a big Toy Story 2 head.
It's not a bad movie.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it and I was just kind of like, it was, fine. But watching it last night, I was like, I really was blown away by it. I think it's just gotten better with time.
There's not many movies that I really like, and I was really, as you know, I was kind of like worried about watching it again, because sometimes when you revisit a movie, you are like, yeah, that wasn't
Hmm.
what I remember, and I don't really like it, but I do kind of think it's a perfect film. There's not,
Hmm.
I think the characters are so awesome, all of them, and the
Hmm.
story, and there's not a cringe worthy thing in there that I can think of, really. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
maybe the girlfriend of the brother, or
Mm.
maybe they're a little weak, the brother and the girlfriend, but
Hmm.
I mean, I just think it's a great, yeah, it was really lived up to my expectations.
Yeah. I'll say that this is maybe my third or fourth time seeing this movie. And yeah, I love this movie. I loved it the first time I saw it. I saw it in theaters with my girlfriend at the time when we both really connected to it. And yeah, I think this is a masterpiece, really.
Wow.
And I also feel that way about Little Women, the other Greta Gerwig directed movie. I just think she's just a natural director talent based
Mm.
off these two movies. And I'm excited to see Barbie later this year, which she
I'm
also
so excited to
directed.
see it too. That is so
Yeah.
funny that you say that.
Yeah, she directed Barbie, so
Oh yeah.
and she's a great actress as well. I love her in Frances Ha, which she also co-wrote with Noah Baumbach, and her and Noah Baumbach are married, so they're a great director duo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I love both of them.
Because I think, yeah, Noah was slated to direct this originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Greta insisted that she should take it all on because she wrote it. Apparently, her original script was like 350 pages, which would
Oh,
have made
wow.
like a 6 hour movie.
Oh,
Wow.
But incredible that they boiled it down to just like a perfect little hour and a half film. It's not too long. It's not too short. It gets in a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I love about her as a director. I don't know, it just feels like her movies are very light on its feet. Scenes are can be really short, but like really impactful. And she just knows right at the right moment to cut, like to end a scene. And
I know that you guys are like, or maybe Zach isn't 30 yet, but I feel like you guys are like, like Austin's over 30. Zach, you
Mhm.
might not be 30 yet, or you're like just over 30.
I'm
But
exactly 30.
oh, you are exactly 30.
Yeah.
But did the movie feel like
Yeah.
relevant to when you guys were like graduating from high school or like when you guys were going into college and stuff? Because it was must have
Mhm.
been around like this a similar like 2002, like early 2000s, like maybe late 90s, but
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was in high school in 2002, 2003, but I wasn't in a Catholic school, so I cannot relate to that experience. But I mean, there's just like some universal things in the film.
Did you listen to Crash by Dave Matthews Band
Oh
and
yeah, I was
Oh
listening to a
yeah.
lot
over a
of Dave
breakup?
Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was listening to a lot of DMB. I don't know. I was like choking up listening to Crash a little bit.
Hmm.
It did bring me back to high school a little bit.
Yeah, it pops up twice in the movie.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
the two girls, when they're laying up and looking up at the sky,
Hmm.
Yeah, in the
it,
field.
yeah, in the field, and
They're
then
both
what was
just
the?
got broken up with like she found out that Danny was gay and then
Oh, right,
and yeah, Julie gets or finds out that the teacher has a wife and is pregnant and she's like,
right,
"Oh, my dream man."
Yeah, the math
yeah,
teacher she has a huge crush on, which is very
yeah,
charming.
yeah,
Yeah.
But then it shows
Uh,
up again later when they're driving to prom, and
mhm.
Timothy Chalamet is like, "This song fucking sucks,"
yeah,
and she's like,
yeah,
I actually love this song, and I actually do want to go to prom," because they're like, "Let's not even go to prom," and
Yeah.
then realizes that like that relationship's not right for her. And it's a great scene. A lot of great scenes
yes,
in cars in this movie.
Yeah, sadly, there's an element of Timothy Chalamet's character that I very much related to as like I was totally that guy in high school, like reading like philosophy and history books that were way over my head and like
above
being
it
like, I
all.
don't, yeah, above it all, being like, I don't really believe in money.
Yeah,
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 yeah. He's like in a band and all this stuff. I was like, ooh, that was kind of cringy for me. I was just like, yeah, I was totally that asshole. But I mean, not as I don't think as bad as him. I I hadn't slept with six people in high school,
No,
so
yeah, I was just about to say after the like losing virginity scene, and then she's just like so upset, and he just like scrunches up like on his headboard to like read his book, like he could care less, and she's just so like oh my God, like what is happening?
yeah. He's like, don't worry, you're gonna have a lot of meaningless sex in your life.
yes,
Yeah, I graduated in 2010, so that's a good decent amount of time past this point. But yeah, there's still some universal things that are relatable too in high school, or it feels like reminds me a little bit more of my college experience than my high school experience because I wasn't really going out to much parties and stuff in high school. I was just kind of hanging out with like my two best friends and stuff. And
mhm.
I wasn't dating or anything in high school. I got into dating in college, so it kind of reminded me of like my early college years a little bit more than high school.
What about you, Natanya? Like, when did you graduate from high school? And is like, there anything here that still like translates?
We don't know when I didn't even go to my high school graduation.
It
So
would have been 1979 because she's born in 1961 or like 1978.
Wow,
Hmm.
look at you in the math.
that's my girl. No, I mean, I think what I relate to is none of it except that she was kind of an outsider, I think,
Mm,
and had just her really close friend. Like I just had a few very close friends. And I totally relate to being that girl. Like and I don't think well, except I don't think I was as much of a wannabe, how she really
mm.
oh, and that awful scene where the girl goes to the house that she said was hers.
Oh God, yeah. She's like,
Oh my
just
God.
leave, just leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting the whole her getting the letters because Livy right now, we all she's getting is these emails and what you it was so
Mm,
cool. Like I was so, you're excited to open up a letter to see if you were accepted or not accepted, I guess.
yeah.
And that experience Liv hasn't really had because it's all via the
Email,
internet,
yeah.
which is not doesn't feel that, grand.
Yeah, there is something about the physical opening of a letter, but also, I don't know, I've gotten plenty of emails in my life that were like, and you like click it and you're like, oh no.
But it's kind of nice this movie's like before cell phones and stuff. And
Yes.
I know it's kind of nice to live in that period where is there like there's internet's around, but it's before cell phones are everywhere. Like it's like
I didn't even notice that.
Tracking device.
Oh yeah, they call it the tracking device, and they're like
Or
just talking
Timothy
about
Chalamet is.
yeah.
yeah.
But she says it too when the dad gives her the cell phone. She's like, "Ooh, tracking device." Yeah, like and that was a conscious choice by Greta Gerwig because she was originally going to put it in modern times, but then she was like, I don't really know what it's like to be a teenager now with everyone addicted to smartphones. So she was like, I'm just going to put it in the time that I remember. And like, I think that's how it ages well because she really did a great job of capturing that moment in time. And so the further you get away from it, the more you realize she nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do want to talk about how this movie starts. I love how this movie begins. It starts with Ladybird and her mom. Like the first shot is like them in the bed together, like sleeping. It's a very nice shot, and they're framed together. Then like you got the scene in the car. It starts with like them listening to a Grapes of Wrath audiobook, and like they're just finishing it, and they're both like in tears about like how beautiful the ending is, and then it quickly devolves into this huge fight.
Yes.
Which ultimately leads to Ladybird jumping out of the car while it's driving. And
Yes.
Laurie Metcalf gives that amazing scream. And I don't know, just like so much of what makes this movie great is captured in that. And the mother daughter dynamic in this movie is really like the heart of the whole thing. So, yeah, I wanted to see if you had any thoughts about that or if like how you guys relate to these two as like mother and daughter. Like, how are you guys different or similar?
Me and my mom are like the exact opposite, I feel like, because we're like really close and Ladybird had like she has like a closer connection kind of to her dad in the movie because her dad isn't as hard on her as the mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like we're a lot different in that way, but I can see the correlation between their relationship and my best friend's relationship with her mom, where it's like they could be like having a sweet moment and then literally just like a flip of a switch and they're just like going at each other and like being so mean to each other. But I feel like kind of like towards the end of the movie, I know that when my friend and her mom get separated, like because she's moving out of state, and her mom didn't really want her to, not because she just wanted her to stay, but because of money reasons. But it's like all kind of like, I also don't want you to move that far away from home and stuff. So I just feel like with my friend and her mom, it's going to be the same. Like they like just don't get along at home, but like they're going to move away from each other. And then it's going to be like this kind of like weird, like, it's like, oh, I like miss you. And
yeah.
I absolutely agree with Liv. Like we are very, very close, but and don't have that dynamic of at each other and anger between us. But I guess unfortunately I do relate a little bit to Laurie Metcalf's character in that I think she is harder than she wants to be. She grew up with an alcoholic, which I didn't.
The alcoholic mother.
Yeah, and you see like kind of the damage and how she's treating her daughter, I think is related to that. And so even though that's not me, I know that sometimes I can be a lot harsher and more judgmental maybe, or than I want to be, and I don't mean to be, sometimes. Like with, just say the Miami thing, like just that I was very judgmental about it. And, so I guess I see a little bit of that in me, I don't know, but I don't see the relationship as being the same.
Yeah. I mean, you guys say that you're close. I mean, I feel like you two are like the closest mother-daughter relationship that I know of. You guys are absolutely joined at the hip. I don't think I've seen either of you guys like in separate contexts, like ever, like since you've been born, Livy, like you guys are incredibly close.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not even like we're basically the same person. We will literally have like the same thoughts. Like the other day, mom made like a really yummy dinner, and I was like thinking, I was like, man, like what is it going to be like when I have to go to school and I like can't have home cooked meals? And mom was like, I was just thinking the same thing. Like there have been multiple
Wow.
times where we're like on the same like brain wavelength or something. Like we have like what's it called? Like telepathy.
Yeah, yeah. You have The Shining.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched an interview with Greta Gerwig this morning, and she was talking about like, yeah, like how the mother and daughter, like they are very similar people, and like how they're like the same height, and how she like gave them the same haircut, so they looked like very similar, like when they're standing next to each other. But
Hmm.
yeah, like that's why they butt heads so much, is because they are so similar, but they have their love for each other is so strong at the same time.
It's kind of funny because I don't know. I remember when I first watched the movie, I think I remember somebody, or maybe it was even you, Liv, who said like that, that they thought that she was so mean, like she's such a, mean person, or, that the mom was. And I was like, no, I mean, absolutely not. She's just trying her best in so many different
Yeah.
ways. And the end scene, like how she just, didn't get out of the car. And, you just see how difficult it was for her to leave her
Hmm.
at the airport.
Yeah.
And she's just a harder person because she had a harder life. That's all, I think.
Yeah, yeah, she has that great line at the end of like that one little argument they have in Ladybird's late bedroom, where she's like, "Well, my mother's an abusive alcoholic," and just slams
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it just says a lot. Like she
Yeah.
can, like, why she the way she is, and she maybe she's like not fully matured because of the way she was raised.
But they do show, many, many sweet scenes, not between the daughter, but between the people that she's caring for. You see a very, understanding, empathetic, warm person. And she just doesn't really display it with her daughter.
That's such a good point. Yeah, like there's that scene with the
Priest?
yes, with the priest
Yeah.
where she's like, "Do you have anybody to turn to?" And he's just like, "No." And I thought that was really powerful. That actor's
Mm-hmm.
great. And yeah, that's what this movie does so well, is like just taking just like the tiniest little character, but adding so much emotional depth to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that character, like, it's like they just mentioned one thing about him, that his like son tragically died, and so he's like, it's easy for him to cry, and then like you see him in therapy with Ladybird's mom, and he's just like so full of depth, but probably only has like 2 minutes of screen time. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I love that scene where he's like, "Let's play a game. Let's see who can cry first." And then he just starts bawling immediately, and it's like hilarious and like heartbreaking at the same time. It's so good.
And he's really crying. Like I remember that scene where he was really, you could feel it wasn't like, cue the tear. He
Mhm.
was sobbing. So
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big theme in the movie, is that like kind of everybody has their own personal little trauma. Like you hear like the father has always been dealing with depression, or the friend Julie, like she has that great line where she's just like, some people aren't born happy,
mhm.
aren't built happy. And the fact that they're listening to Grapes of Wrath in the very beginning, and they're like bawling their eyes out, and then I think one of the first lines that Lady Bird says is like, I wish I could live through something, which is such a good line. Like this movie is just filled with like very simple but profound lines,
Mhm.
like that. But they are living through something.
Yeah, yeah. There's like the Iraq War and stuff, and also
Yeah.
just all their personal stuff.
As an outsider, you'd think, oh, growing up in Sacramento, like I'm sure it's a beautiful place. But I think she's saying, it just feels like not an interesting place at all. She's
Hmm.
in this suburban kind of place that doesn't feel exciting. And that's why that she wants to go to the East Coast and, like she's
Hmm.
better than everybody kind of thing. Or like she's got these grand ideas and, because where she's from doesn't feel interesting.
But yeah, going back to what you're saying, Austin, about like so many characters in this movie are like struggling with depression and grief and stuff, and even Timothy Chalamet's character's got his dad's like dying of cancer, which is revealed in a very funny way.
What you did was very baller. It was very anarchist.
Yeah, fuck him.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna snitch on you.
Well, I hope not, because I'd fucking kill your family.
What?
Sorry, that was an exaggeration.
It's okay. My dad has cancer, so I guess God's doing that for us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is a hilarious scene.
Yeah. Took it a step too far. Yes.
So you're anti Timothy Chalamet? I think he's great in this movie. I think this is my favorite role for him.
He's great in it. He's perfect. He's just the kind of guy that I just but he's perfect in it. He's great.
Yeah.
Very, like self-important kind of image of himself as whatever Kerouac, or I don't know what he thought he was.
Too cool for school.
Too cool for school. And he probably is too cool for school.
And he says things are hella tight, which I remember hearing that from like Troy and Heath back in the day whenever I would see them like, wow, Californians are so cool. They're saying tight and words I've never heard before.
Isn't tight is probably from the 60s though. I really think
You're
it
like,
is.
we've been saying that a long time.
Yeah, it feels very 2000 Californian to me, but maybe it's probably earlier than that.
Oh, I keep thinking about I liked the brother, Ladybird's brother. Like I think just the one scene like towards the end when it's just like a lot of the movie or like the like fights between Ladybird and her mom. It's a lot about like money, but like her mom never gets mad at Miguel, her brother, for like money. It's always like Ladybird is like a financial burden kind of. But I don't know, just like when the dad loses his job and he's going to a job interview and it's just like just seems like he can't relate to the guy who's interviewing him at all, or like the guy who's like interviewing him just like I don't know. But then he like runs into his son, or I don't know if it's like their half son or their stepson, but he like runs into him at the same interview. And I always thought I like after watching it yesterday, I thought it was so funny when Ladybird was like talking about how she didn't get into Berkeley, and she's like, I don't know how I didn't get into Berkeley. Miguel got into Berkeley. And then she like kind of makes fun of him because like of his name, because she's like, oh well, because like you're Hispanic, like I'm white. And then like she was like saying that he doesn't get a job because he has like all the shit in his face, like all the piercings and stuff. Like I just thought that was like so perfect, because I feel like there's a lot of lines where it's like everyone's kind of thinking that, but like no one's like really said it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wish we knew a little bit more about Miguel, but at the same time, it's kind of more realistic that way, because it's like not like, here's my brother, he does XYZ and this is where he comes from. It's just like he's just there and he's the brother.
And he's like tied to the hip with his girlfriend, and they like dress the same and they look the same. And I think that's a funny like bit.
But Tracy Letts at one point basically says that that Shelley is kind of his daughter too. Like he feels like connected to her in that way when they're like, it's kind of a throw. Yeah, it's kind of a throwaway line, but he's when he's sitting on the bed with Ladybird and they're just talking, he's like, and then there's Shelley, but she's kind of like a daughter too, like something like that. And then Shelley also really sticks up for Ladybird's mom in that one scene where they're smoking the clove cigarettes. So the characters do like serve a good purpose, but I just like, I wish I knew a little bit more backstory, I guess.
Yeah. Do you guys have any favorite characters?
I don't have a favorite character, but I think Odeya Rush, the girl playing the popular girl, I think she is so pretty. She's from Israel, and she was in another movie called The Giver that I really liked. And I just think like the way that she plays her characters, and like when she like shows up to like Ladybird's real house and she's just like, I don't like liars. Like I don't think I can like forgive you for like being a liar. Just like I feel like she's just such a perfect like mean girl. Or
well, the thing is though, I that scene, that's where I'm surprised by her, because she's such a unlikable character basically. But then she walks into Ladybird's real house and she's not like at all. Like, you live here, but she's like, you lied to me. It's got nothing to do with the fact that Ladybird's in a, not in this big beautiful house, but that she lied to her when she is in fact really a shallow character. But she doesn't seem that shallow in that scene. She's not, kind of disgusted by where she lives, but just the fact that she was like, why on earth did you lie about this?
Yeah, like she's a mean girl. She's not like got great character. But I think that one thing again that this movie does really well is like making Ladybird like not a perfect character either. I mean, like she like throws away the grade book. She
throws away her friend.
Yeah, I was thinking about that scene specifically where she's like really trying really hard to like hang out with this popular girl right in front of her current best friend, and she's like, "Wait, we can't do that. We got the theater audition later." And she's like, "Oh, I don't really want to do that." Or she's like so dismissive and mean to her, like who's been her best friend the whole time, and like right in front of her trying to like find a new best friend or something, and it's so cold and mean in a very subtle way that I really that scene really got to me this go around.
But it's like you love her character, but do you like her character? It's like exactly like what she brings up to her mom. Like she's like, I know you love me, but like, do you like me? Like, do you think I'm a good person?
Yeah, and the mom just responds like, "Of course I love you," and doesn't even address like the idea of like liking her. Yeah,
I think that she shows herself to be a person of character many times, though. Like in the scene in the car, especially where she's like, you know what? I like that song and I want to go to the prom. And you guys are, she's like, F you guys.
Then she goes to her best. It's like, take me to my best friend's place. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they reconnect, and that's really nice.
And they dance together. Oh my God, it's so sweet when they dance. And those are great scenes too.
Yeah, the prom scene is awesome. And I guess Greta Gerwig actually dressed up in a prom dress for that scene. Like behind the camera, she was like dressed up like going to prom too, just to like make everybody feel at home or like they're actually going to prom.
Nice.
I do remember, and I don't know why, I'm trying to remember what struck me. So I remember when I first watched the movie being really struck when the mom and daughter were shopping together.
Yeah.
Libby, that scene where they're looking for the dresses.
Yeah, that's such a interesting scene because they're like arguing with each other back and forth. And then she's like, what about this dress? And she's like, oh, I love it. Like, it's like immediately they're like just hanging out shopping again.
Yeah, I feel like it's more realistic.
Yeah. In the interview I saw with Greta Gerwig, she was talking about how this movie's mostly written in just like in between scenes she was talking about, or like we're not actually going to show the prom, or like we're not going to show these big events. We're showing like them get going to the thing. That's why there's a lot of scenes in cars or like preparing for a thing, and then you find just more human kind of relatable moments and like the moments in between like the big things that are usually in movies like this, which kind of reminds me of Boyhood, which is another movie I love, which is all of that is just like kind of like little mundane moments that like usually don't get shown in movies. And so I was kind of thinking about Boyhood while watching this.
Good catch, because I read something that Greta Gerwig wanted to make this movie like the female version of Boyhood.
Yeah, and Boyhood is very much 2000s carbon dated as well, which is another connection there.
Remind me of that movie with Boyhood. Who was in that? What is
Ethan Hawke's in there, but the gimmick was that it's like they filmed it like for 12 years.
Right.
They filmed like a few scenes every year, and so you actually see this actor age, and all the actors age.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, and this is kind of off topic, but since we talked about Boyhood and like how it was filmed over time, so the play that they do in the movie is Merrily We Go Along, which I think the audition scenes are so funny. She's like, everybody says don't. Everybody says don't.
Yeah.
So funny.
And you just get quick little snippets of all the auditions. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, Christine.
Ladybird.
Is that your given name?
Yeah.
Why is it in quote?
Well, I gave it to myself. It's given to me by me.
Okay. Take it away, Ladybird.
Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't, it isn't right. Don't, it isn't nice. Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't walk on the
That play takes
Could you do that
place.
again one more time?
Everybody says don't. Everybody says don't. It's just so like little kid like trying to be an actor. Like
jazz hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. And like God, Saoirse Ronan is like very Irish.
Yeah, you hear the Irish accent at all. She feels totally Californian.
Yeah. And she can even sing in a California accent. So that play, Merrily We Go Along, apparently they're filming that the movie based on that play right now. And Beanie Feldstein, who plays Julie, is going to be in it. And they're like, the movie is slated to come out in 2040. So
What?
they're like, yeah. So they're filming it over like 20 year span or something. Yeah. Cause they started shooting it in 2019.
Hopefully the person shooting it is
Gonna
healthy.
stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Also, fun fact, Beanie Feldstein is Jonah Hill's sister.
Really?
Oh, she looks exactly like him.
Right?
She does.
Yeah.
She
And she
looks
like
so
has that
familiar
same
to
kind
me.
of sense of humor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know that.
I really like the scene when she comes out of Kyle's house and then they go and she's like, do you want to go do our favorite Sunday activity? And they go and like look at the beautiful houses and like the open houses, because we have a really nice neighborhood by us that we go to walk around all the time, like with our dog, and like we love to go to the open houses. And then I had also said that I liked because it's so nostalgic, the scene where she's painting her room. It's like bright pink, like every girl's like little girl room, and she has like all these little like notes and like posters and like stickers all over her wall, and it's just like her transition from like a child to like adulthood. It's like it's very like sad and like I don't know.
Oh, Are you doing any like kind of ritualistic things like that yourself right now?
I made a list of things I wanted to do before I left Colorado. Like there is some like very like Colorado-y things that I feel like I haven't done yet. Like I haven't gone like whitewater rafting, or like I haven't hiked a 14er. So I feel like I kind of want to do stuff like that, but I don't think so. I can't
What's a
think of anything.
14er?
It's like a mountain that's over like 14,000 feet.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I also
bag of 14er. It's a big deal here.
have you guys like the other movie I really like by Saoirse Ronan? It's called Brooklyn, and it's about an Irish girl coming to America. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, but it's so good.
I have not.
I don't think I have. I definitely want to check it out though, because I think she's just such a magnetic actress.
Yeah, I feel like you can't like get enough of her.
Yeah, she's great in Little Women as Jo March. That's the other role I really think about. But yeah, she's also in Grand Budapest Hotel, that Wes Anderson movie. But she kind of has a very small role in there. But yeah, I'd like to see more of her and stuff. She's great.
You guys would probably really like it. She's really good.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is like less related to the movie, but I really like. I don't know. Is A24 a production like company? I love their movies. I feel like all of their movies are really strong, really good, and like I feel like they all kind of have like a similar characteristic like quality. I don't really know how to explain it, but I love like almost all of their movies.
Yeah, this actually was A24's, at the time it was their biggest hit. Like this was their biggest film they had ever put out. And then the next year Ari Aster put out Hereditary, and that kind of like took over. But yeah, A24 now is like the production company. I mean, I think they did Everything Everywhere All at Once. They did the Whale. Like they are Hollywood's like darling production company now. Like they're making all the good stuff.
Company.
Oh,
come
God.
on.
Yeah, hopefully there's
let's hope not.
Yeah, they also did Moonlight, which that was 2016, and that won Best Picture, obviously. So that was a huge thing for them.
I thought the scene with Lucas, is it Lucas Hedges?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought there were some really sweet, wonderful scenes with them as well.
Yeah, like when they pick out the Bruce the star.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
very cute. And yeah, it's like she was really like heartbroken when she like catches him making out with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But then when she's in college, like she like looks out the window and she's like, Bruce. So she's like she still has this like sentimental or emotional connection to that relationship, which is just really sweet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's that scene later where she runs into him like kind of outside the coffee shops he's working at. At this point, you like figure like he's gonna be out of the movie, but he just kind of comes back and he like kind of gets into like how hard it is for him to like come out to his parents and stuff, and then they like hug and it's really sweet. And it's
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a beautiful scene.
Yeah, and again, it's just like showing that everybody in this movie kind of has their story and like has their struggle, and nobody is like like a one-sided character. Like even the people you hate, like they're dealing with
Mm-hmm.
something that's
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah, you don't get too much backstory on the JV football coach who starts directing the theater.
Too bad too, because he was so good. He's like, and here you go, you're coming in, you're singing.
That scene's really. Oh, it's like you coming hot. Yeah, yeah. Greta Gerwig was saying how like there wasn't really any improv in this movie except for that scene. Like she was like, just go off, just like, and he totally improv that whole scene. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you wish you'd done a little musical theater back in the day. I know I never did.
I did. I have done some plays, but never a musical.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I had a very like I auditioned to be in Little Shop of Horrors my senior year of high school, but
Oh wow.
I was in contention with like the star, the guy who like got all the lead roles in all the plays, and it was like me against him, and I was like I was like stirring the pot because it was like always this guy Nick Cosgrove, he always got the part, and I didn't get it. And I was like, okay, well, and I remember I like went to one, like they were like, would you still want to be in the play? And they gave me like some small role, and I like went to one of the rehearsals, and I was like, yeah, not for me. I'm either the star or I'm nothing, baby.
I remember when I was in grade school and I kind of gave it my all to try out. I think it was like Alice in Wonderland, maybe. And my friend Susan Hobbs also auditioned, and I didn't get a part, and she got the walk-on part of it. She was like tall, and so grandma or my mom tried to make me feel better by saying, I think she was the executioner or something, and that, like that she was tall and that's why she got the part. But yeah. I didn't get it.
Well,
it's okay.
It's okay. They missed out. They missed out.
Mm-hmm.
And so speaking of acting, I mean, like, again, the cast is so good, and I love that she cast Tracy Letts and Laurie Metcalf, who are both Chicago actors who work together at Steppenwolf. So their rapport with each other is like so great because it's like they've been working with each other and probably been in plays together for years and years and years before then. So their dynamic is just so natural, and so I mean, like they're both great actors in their own right, but to see them play off of each other was like so great.
Well, I think with Laurie Metcalf, the thing that I remembered her from Roseanne. I think it was Roseanne. Was that the name of the
Oh, right. Yeah.
So she was not, I didn't like that show. I didn't particularly like her.
Mm-hmm.
And, I easily could have not liked her in this, but I think she's amazing. So I'm always, I like it when actors surprise you that way. Like you're like, she's freaking amazing in this.
Yeah.
If you had told me that she was in it and I'd think of Roseanne and I'd be like, yeah, I don't really care to see her do anything. But she's
Yeah.
amazing in it.
Yeah, it's
Like
kind of
one of-
mind blowing that she wasn't nominated for an Oscar for this performance,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
Saoirse, but especially her, because I don't know, there's just so much emotion in everything she says, and just her face. She conveys
Yeah.
so much with just a look,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
especially just that scene you mentioned earlier of like when she's driving away from the airport, and then
Mhm.
like you just her staying with her, then you like see her decide to drive back to the airport, and
Mhm.
like she just misses her, and
Mhm.
it's very moving.
Yeah. Or that scene when they're trying on the prom dresses. And that was when I just like, because I was just getting so overwhelmed with how many great little perfect like one-liners there are in this movie. So
Mhm.
I started just like writing them down at that point. And like just in that one scene, it was like, why can't I look like the other girls? I wish that you liked me.
Mhm.
What if this is the best version? Which I thought is such a powerful line because she's I forget what she says, but she was just like, I just want you to be the best version of yourself. And she's like, Mom, what if this is the best version? And she
Yeah.
gives that look where she was like, this is not your best. Like you're gonna do much better than this.
Yeah.
But that's good that you had that written down because I remember because I earlier when I was saying that scene when I first saw this movie resonated with me so much and I didn't remember why. And now you're saying all those
Hmm.
lines and that was why. You know,
Yeah.
there was just, it was you just learned so much about both of them. But I do think, you know, it is a mom movie and it's about the mom's I think fighting against the kind of mother that she had. Like she sees herself
Mm.
behaving in a way you know that's maybe like the way that she was treated and but she can't help it you know I see that in her face sometimes in the
Yeah.
movie the mom not you know Laurie Metcalf
Hmm.
you know that she's harsher than she wants to be but she just it's just she is
Yeah, she has some passive aggressive tendencies, like when she's like
yeah
saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have ate that second helping of pasta," when she's complaining about
Yeah.
like not being able to fit in the dress, and she's like,
mm-hmm.
"You're gonna give me an eating disorder," kind of
And
stuff.
she's like, I wish I had an eating disorder. Or like when she graduates and like everyone's like, "Whoa, yeah, you did so great," and she's like, You walked kind of weird."
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, come
yeah,
on, mom.
yeah.
Like,
That's such a funny part.
The dress is the star of the show that beautiful dress too that she wears I love the dress
the pink dress.
mm-hmm. I love it
Yeah, you're just talking about quotes you like. I also like the Ladybird's talking to Timothy Chalamet's character, and he's like minimizing like how sad she's feeling after they sleep together, and she's like, different things can be sad. It's not all war, because he's like
Yeah.
comparing it to like what's going on in like Iraq and stuff, and
I love all the like things like marking like Bush era politics. Like there's the one line she's thinking about going to New York and they're like, "But what about terrorism?" And she's like, "Don't be a Republican."
yeah,
I just
yeah,
love that line so much.
She says it to Julie.
Yeah. She's like, don't be a Republican. Or like when the Reagan poster is up and she's like, is this a joke? And he's like, it's not a joke.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's when she's at her first boyfriend, Lucas Hedges' family for Thanksgiving, and there's like a nice little montage, and it's like seems pretty pleasant. Like she like folds up like the napkins or
Mhm.
something, and then like
mm-hmm.
Lucas Hedges' mom comes over. It's like, oh, that's really nice. Like, could you do that for all of them? And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like such a quick little moment that I feel like nobody else would put in their movie because it adds nothing, but it
Mhm.
is like really nice. And I'm like,
And then when she comes home, that she was really missed.
yeah, like her and her friends are like they're like laughing and giggling, cooking something in the kitchen,
Yes.
and then Laurie
Yes.
Metcalf comes in and it's
Yes.
like, we would have liked to had you at Thanksgiving or something like that, or I don't know.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And they're all like
Yeah.
really uncomfortable when she comes in.
Well, weren't they getting high? Weren't
Yeah,
they
I think,
stoned?
yeah, they
Oh,
were like,
right. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think they were like all fucked up and
Yeah. There's
didn't know how
that.
to handle it.
Yeah.
Which felt like a relatable scene for me.
Natanya, you're a big reader. Have you ever read Joanne Didion? Or Joan Didion, sorry,
Yeah,
not
I know she
Joanne.
was a California kind of cool kid writer.
Yeah.
Knew a lot of, was in a very kind of literary neat group or whatever, but and wrote for a magazine, I think, or magazines originally, kind of did that kind of writing. But she lost her husband and her daughter. What was the name of that book? Oh, right, The Year of Magical Thinking. And I know she was a California person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was from Sacramento. She like wrote a
Right.
whole book about Sacramento. And I think the movie opens with the Joan Didion quote that is, anybody who talks about California hedonism has never spent a Christmas in Sacramento. I do not
Yes.
understand, really.
Oh, I think that totally goes back to Saoirse Ronan's character saying that she's not lived through anything, that Sacramento is like a wasteland kind of thing.
Mm.
I mean, that's what that feels like to me, that it feels very or the kind of empty suburban lifestyle or something, not hedonistic or cool in any way. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's just like, I think a lot of people have like the stereotypical view of California as like everyone's hippies and smoking
Yes.
weed and stuff. But it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Like you would
actually,
think,
it's boring.
yeah, you would think Sacramento would be, or anywhere in California would be a nice place to grow up, but maybe it all feels, stifling and not that interesting. Or, I mean, that's how I would kind of read the quote.
Yeah, but that's like kind of Ladybird's journey through it, is how much she hates Sacramento, and by the end of the movie, she like realizes like how much love she has for where she came from. When she's talking about the first time she drove, when she's leaving the voice message to her mom at the end of the movie, she's talking about like the first time when she got her driver's license and driving through it, and it's like kind of a montage of Sacramento and kind of realizing like how special of a place it is to her, really, even though this whole time she's been like saying she hates it, but she really does care about it.
Sacramento, the Midwest of California.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people feel that way about maybe where they grew up, but then in looking back, the sentimental, nostalgic lens is very different.
I remember watching it the first time too, and I thought we've already talked about the line where she's like, I want to live through something. And I just think that is like so funny because I've thought about that like multiple times. I feel like I'm like, oh, like, and it's so funny. She says like she hasn't lived through anything, but a couple of years ago, I swear, Austin, I was talking to you about this. Like, I was like, you guys lived through like 9/11. She also lived through 9/11, and she's like, I'm not living through anything.
Right.
But like, I feel like I remember we were like in Canada, I feel like, and I was just saying like I've never like lived through a war, even though like we are in a war, but just like, just not something as significant, not like I want to be necessarily, but just like nothing as significant as like the First or Second World War, like the Vietnam War, or like
how about the pandemic?
No, I know.
Yeah.
No, but this was a couple of years ago. I just remember like talking to Austin in Canada, or one of the cousins up in Canada being like, I've like never lived through like basically like what she's saying. And I know that I probably thought of 9/11 as being something, or like Columbine, even though now there's been like like thousands of Columbines like every day. But like at the time it was like, oh, like I've like never lived through like something crazy like that before. But like one of the things I would have considered crazy is like what Lady Bird had lived through, which was 9/11. But she's like, I've never lived through something.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Because I mean, I remember feeling that way too. When I was younger, just feeling like I hadn't like suffered enough or something like that. But I mean, I remember when you asked me that, actually, Olivia, and I think that my response was, I was like, dude, Donald Trump is president. I was like, we are living through a very intense moment in history right now. Like, you might not realize it right now, but I mean, it is very apparent. We are definitely living through something.
Yeah. Tensions are high.
Tensions are very high. Like, people were going to be talking about this moment in history for a long time. And I mean, yeah, like you said, Natanya, the pandemic is
there's so much
incredibly huge. And actually, Olivia, I would like to get your perspective because I mean, you were a freshman in high school, right? When the pandemic broke out in 2020.
Yeah, yeah. So I like only had like half of a freshman year or like 2/3 of a freshman year. And then all sophomore year was online. And then junior year, we came back to school, but for like, again, like 2/3 of the year, we had like masks on. And that was like very like prohibitory, I guess is the word of like being able to meet people. And yeah, it's been weird. That's why I think I'm sure everyone is always excited to like go to college and stuff, but like I just don't feel like I've gotten like a very good like social experience at my high school. And I don't know if it's just like it's probably like a combination of like different factors. But I'm excited to go somewhere new with like new people because I just feel like it's like a completely different start. Like I know when I left like middle school, I was like, no, like high school is going to be like way different. And I just, I don't feel like I like got that. So I'm like college, I definitely am like there's going to be like, I'll only know like one person who goes to school there, but they're not even like a close friend of mine. So
Yeah, you get a kind of a fresh start.
yeah, like a real fresh start.
Yeah, it's just like you kind of get like to try high school again a little bit. But I mean, everybody in that class is going to have the same kind of experience, which is kind of wild to think that,
Yeah.
Is like as unique of an experience as you had in the pandemic. Like pretty much everyone you're going into college with had that same experience of probably like everything shutting down their freshman year of high school. It's just
Yeah, I
crazy.
feel bad for the kids who were like in college or like I saw something that was like it was just like on the internet that this girl's brother was like 7 when he was like when the pandemic happened and now he was like 10 and he's like has like no friends because there was just such like such an effect on like every person I feel like was like affected in a different way and like just took such a big chunk of time like out of their life, I guess, or just like critical moments. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really tragic in a lot of different ways. Like I think of our cousin Ayana too, because she was a freshman in college when that happened, and so she got her college experience kind of robbed from her as well.
I was
So
just going to say, you guys, it was kind of funny because you were all talking about like living through something, like when you're younger. And I remember when I was feeling particularly depressed, which was not uncommon. And talking to a therapist and it, the same kind of angst about not living through much and having watched the movie Glory with Denzel Washington and like, which is all about fighting for something. And, just the exact same thing of like feeling like your life, you're not doing all these great things or living through these great things. And, anyway.
Well, you were really young, but I mean, you lived through the civil rights, you lived through Vietnam.
But you don't, but you never, I mean, that's I guess maybe the point that you don't feel like you've lived through anything as a kid. It's got to be some grand,
Yeah. It's got to be World War II.
Yeah. You got to
have fought the Nazis.
Yeah, it's exactly right. You have to have blood on your hands and, sweat on your face.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of a product of us, like kind of being a country that's always living in the shadow of like the greatest generation. It's like, oh, we'll never be as great as our grandparents who like fought in World War II or whatever. But I have a question for Olivia. When you turned 18, did you go and buy a pack of cigarettes and a Playgirl and
scratch off?
No, that's so funny. All of my friends bought lottery tickets and I still haven't bought one. I do want to. And I've thought about it a couple times, but I just like didn't have my money with me. But also don't you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes now or is it still 18?
I think it's 18. I think
Really?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, unless they've changed the law. But yeah, I remember that being a thing. I remember my first time buying my own pack of cigarettes.
Really? Yeah, I still am yet to buy the lottery ticket. I do really want to.
You should do it for this podcast and send us a picture of like how you fared.
I definitely I will do that.
Yeah, you got to buy everything Ladybird buys.
Yeah, do they? I was gonna also say, do they?
I don't even think they have
sell?
Playgirls anymore.
I was gonna say, do they even sell those anymore?
No, there's the internet now. There's no more porn magazines. Are there any other scenes or anything else that you feel like we haven't talked about yet?
I like how on her cast she writes "fuck you, mom" after she falls out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just love that one scene when she gets her driver's license and she's like, "Thank you." And the guy's like, "This is not a thanking situation."
Yeah.
She's just like, "Oh, well, yay."
Or like the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like her catchphrase. And then like, yeah, Lucas had just like, she actually does live on like by railroad tracks. I didn't know that was I thought she was just being funny. But yeah, there's stuff like that Lady Bird does or says that is kind of cringy, but not like the movie's self-aware that like, because she's just like being just like the fact that she calls herself Lady Bird and is so strong on that is just like being very brave and very independent when you're young.
Mhm.
Which I never felt like that at that age, but like, yeah, you'll say embarrassing things or just like be kind of cringy.
Taking yourself pretty seriously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is there a reason, is it ever really said why she goes by Lady Bird?
No, it's just like she just wants to be. She just doesn't like her name, or yeah, they never
Wait, well,
explain
and
it. It's just
Lady
like she just
Bird
wants
was the name, wasn't that the name of Eisenhower's wife or something?
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Or Johnson, I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it actually is in 2017. Greta Gerwig was asked by Terry Gross if she got the name Lady Bird from Lyndon B. Johnson's wife, the first lady, Lady Bird Johnson. But she said no. It just like kind of like came to her, and she said when she really thought about it, it might have been from the Mother Goose nursery rhyme that goes Lady bird, fly away home, your house is on fire, your children are all gone. Which is interesting because like that, I mean, like that is very like fly away home, your children are all gone, like, but she said it was just like kind of maybe like accidentally embedded in her head and just came out when she was writing. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Or like when Julie puts her name in quotes and in Lady Bird's like, you don't need to put your name in quotes.
It was given to me by me. I
Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene where like she's like arguing with her best friend and then like her best friend has like a new like friend with her and like that's like really quiet and she's like, Darlene, stay or something like during the fight and giving her shit about like Lady Bird's new popular friend and like saying that she's a moron and she's like she gets like straight A's and it's like she's a moron in a deeper sense.
I feel like this whole podcast is just me being like, I like this line, I like that line, but I feel like they all like kind of open up a door to discussion, and you know, like when she quote unquote vandalizes the nun's like car, and then she gets in trouble for it, and then she's like again such a dynamic character because you think that she's gonna go into the nun's office and she's gonna get like hit with a yardstick or something, but actually she's like I like how you wrote about Sacramento, and then there's that great line about like love and attention.
Yeah, like they're being like the same thing.
Yeah, and so like when you think about that in the context of like the mother-daughter relationship, it's like a lot of like where they like butt heads is her mom like kind of like pointing out these things that she's noticed about her daughter, like you walk weird or like it's too pink, or she's just like kind of nitpicking, but it's because she's like she loves her and she's paying close attention.
Yeah, there's that exchange between Lady Bird and Lucas Hedges where Lucas is like, your mom's so hard on you, and it's like, yeah, well, she loves me a lot. She's like very defensive.
She loves me extra hard.
Yeah. And that really captures it a lot. Like you hate your mom at the same time, but you also love her so much. And yeah, it's so many little lines that capture these ideas really succinctly.
Well, it's kind of funny that nun scene also, when she goes in there, it ends up being just, they both really like each other, the nun and
Mm-hmm.
Ladybird, you expect it, she's getting in trouble, but it really just, and it was such a rude thing of her. She is just trying to like get in with this crowd
Yeah.
and, make herself look, like she's, a badass or something. And then they have this sweet exchange and,
Yeah.
it's a nice scene too. I forgot about that scene.
Yeah, the Catholic school is portrayed as like being like pretty nice. Like I feel like most times when you see like a Catholic school in a movie, like it's very oppressive but like it's like no, it seems like a pretty nice school. Like everyone that works there is really friendly and
everybody says dope.
Also, what's weird about shaking hands? Like there's like so many scenes where it's like you shake hands, that's weird. I'm like, why is that weird?
I think it's well, to me I just see it as a lot of women don't shake hands, and it's a very forthright kind of confident way to present yourself, especially for a young woman. Most women don't stick out their hand like that. That's that's what I thought. I don't think it's weird. I just don't think many young women stick their hand out and shake it, and she's just like her, a strong, her own person kind of gal. She's got just a strong personality somehow. I
think that's a good point.
Well, I think it's funny because realistically, I think I would I feel like I tend to shake hands, or like that's like what I like think of doing, because I'm like, well, if you don't know them, you're not going to give them a hug. Like it just seems like it feels like it makes more sense to like give a handshake, but I feel like for kids my age, it seems odd because it seems like more of an adult thing to do than like, or like a professional thing to do. Like you would do it during like an interview or like something like that. It wouldn't be like something that like a teenager does, but like ironically, like I'm supposed to meet up with this person from my school who I've never met before. And I was like, I'm like over analyzing, but I was like, I've never met this person. I was like, I'm not going to give them a hug. But then I was thinking about Ladybird and I'm like, well, if I give him a handshake, is that going to be like weird? But I think I'll go with the handshake.
Yeah. I think the handshake is a good move. I don't see what's weird about a handshake, but I can see it. Yeah, it's not very.
How often do you do it? Do you
shake hands?
Yeah.
Anytime I meet somebody new, I'll shake their hand.
Like, I do think it's more normalized for men to shake hands than for women, I think. So I think that is a good point that you brought up, Natanya.
Yeah. So Livy, just the person that you're meeting may not know what to do with your hand when you stick it out.
Maybe they'll be like, weird.
Oh, weird.
You shake hands. That's weird.
If there's a comment about it, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. Get back to us on that.
When is this? Who are you meeting at school?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? It's Sunday. Oh.
No, I'll tell you. This is not for the podcast.
Not for everyone's ears. Okay.
So did you guys get emotional while watching this last night? Like seeing the parallels and like your own situation with going off to college?
Okay. We played the song afterwards, but the song that comes on, I think it's like maybe it's like when she's painting her room, or it's definitely one of the like transitioning.
The Eve of Parting.
Yes. That song, it came on and I was just like, this is so sad. Like I just had to play it because I was like, this is stuck in my head, and it just is like so sad, but it was such a pretty song.
John Hartford, this Eve of Parting. Yeah, it's just like such a beautiful song about moving on.
I love the needle drop of Always See Your Face by Love, which is kind of like at the ending montage of the movie when she's in college and like is in the ambulance and stuff. That's another great song.
Well, like Austin or Zach, have you guys ever seen Big Mouth? Like, you know how the introduction, have you guys seen that? Like the introduction song is going through changes. It kind of is like that song, I feel like.
Yeah. Which is actually originally a Black Sabbath song.
Oh yeah, that's like the Charles Bradley cover that they use.
Yeah. You just rolled your eyes so hard at me.
I did. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I literally have never listened to Black Sabbath. So when you said that, I was just kind of like, I don't know what to say about that because I don't know anything about them. I didn't mean to.
Wow.
Well, you should.
It was not an eye roll. It was more just like, oh, like I don't know what to say because I don't know. Like I literally don't know anything about that band.
Ozzy Osbourne is the singer. You know.
Oh, okay. I know who that.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, Crazy Train. You know that song, Liv.
Everybody
Yeah.
says oi. Everybody says oi.
Yeah, that used to be like one of my favorite songs, actually.
Crazy Train.
Yeah, the Crazy Train song.
Oh wow,
Nice.
that's not
Yeah, that's a
Sabbath
good
though.
one.
That's Ozzy's solo career. So big difference.
Well, okay. Sorry to
Get it straight, Livy.
disrespect.
Yeah.
That was to disrespect the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was it's a sentimental movie in many ways, and more just the moving on thing, not even necessarily the, Livy going to college, but just the passage of time and stuff, and how life changes, and your appreciation for things once they're over. So I'm gonna go in the closet now and rock a little bit.
Yeah, the part that gets me the most is near the end of the movie when the dad sends all the letters that Laurie Metcalf wrote but never actually like finished, and there's like 5 different letters, and she's just going through them. It's like, I thought you should see this, that like she really wants to like mend the bridge between you guys, but she doesn't have the words for it. And I don't know, that's just an incredibly emotional little scene there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have been getting a little sleepy.
I don't remember that.
I do remember it, but I really forgot that the whole thing where she goes to college and she gets so drunk. I mean, I just was all in the beginning of the movie and when she's in Sacramento with her mom, and I kind of forgot that the last part of it is when she's at college.
Yeah, it's like only like maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. It's a pretty short section of the movie.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that part's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to rush this, but we should probably start, just giving your final thoughts. And since you're our guest and Natanya, you are the mom, so you can go first. Final thoughts on Ladybird.
I think that it's a beautiful movie and it brings up a lot of things for me as a mom, and in rewatching it, just kind of sensing the struggle I think that the mom is going through to be a good mom and provide and coming off as being particularly harsh sometimes, but it's always from a place of love. And maybe sometimes your kids or your daughter, Livy, may not realize it. And you do have to point out like the obvious thing, the whole thing with school and the money and all that kind of stuff. And you wish that those things weren't, part of the equation, but in reality they are. I mean, and just the coming of age story, with Saoirse Ronan and her desire to go out and be her own person and spread her wings and be a strong, independent person is what I'm hoping for Liv. I'm super, super excited for her to, I was not excited about, I keep bringing it back to, because she is going away to school, and I wasn't really excited about her choice because it felt like a superficial place to me. And I don't really like, I hate their politics there and all that kind of stuff. But in looking at other choices, it really does feel like a great place to experience something very different, from the way Livia's, but, where she's grown up here in Colorado and experienced different people and different things. And, so I'm super, super excited for her. I'm going to miss her a ton. I could cry about it. It's going to be a really different part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a big move. So, Livy, how do you feel? I mean, you can respond to your mom in terms of that, in terms of going to college, but also just final thoughts on the movie.
Well, so final thoughts for the movie is I think maybe I just think the fact that I'm watching it right now, like a month before like graduate, like literally like I graduate in a month. Like exactly a month from tomorrow I graduate. And
That's my
I
birthday, May
oh really?
23rd. And
Really?
it's also Mark and Donna's anniversary.
Oh my God,
It's a
what a
special
special
day.
day. Special day. Um, but yeah, so I think just like being in this very specific part of my life and then also having it be the same part of life that Ladybird is in. And I don't know. I think that made it, and just like knowing that we were going to do this podcast, like I felt like I had to pay much more attention to all the details that I enjoyed it a lot more. And like, just probably anytime you watch something more than once, I feel like you notice a lot more things.
Hmm.
So I definitely really appreciated that and loved it. And then in response to my mom, I don't know why, but like I've always just thought of like, or I mean not like why, but my mom has always been like such a dependent person. Like she, like I know that we were always so close, but I guess when I was like little or just like kind of building up to this moment, like I always felt like I was going to miss my mom more than my mom would miss me. Just because I've always known her to be so dependent and like I'm like, "Oh, she like won't be like
Independent, you mean?
oh, yeah, independent. She'll be so independent. Like she won't like miss me like as much as I'll miss her because we've just like she's just always kind of done her own thing, whether like
Mm.
I don't know, like whether I was alive or not. But like in Ladybird, like I think Ladybird thinks that like her mom isn't gonna miss her, but it turns out that her mom ends up missing her a lot more than she knows. So I guess now I feel like I'm realizing that it's so close that like my mom will miss me a lot more than I probably kind of assumed in my head, if that makes
Mm.
sense. That was really hard to articulate for some reason, but
No. It makes sense.
hopefully the message gets across.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think so much of this movie is about like thinking that you're going to miss something or not miss something, but actually you will. Like, I mean, the very last scene is her like admitting that she misses Sacramento, even though like the whole movie she's like, I hate this place. Um, so yeah, no, I think it's articulated very well. Natanya, do you have a rebuttal to that?
No, I know she's like surprised that I'm going to miss her. I think I will be fine, but I am going to miss her. Yes, I'm going to miss her tremendously. And I am more, you know, very excited for her. And it's to me, that just adds a lot of, a lot more to my life to have her have new exciting things happening. That's what's cool about being an older mom.
Mm.
Most people are, at my age, their kids are married or whatever and have kids, where I feel like there's still so many exciting things ahead, in the future for Livy, which then, I can bask in all of it.
Yeah.
It's really
That's
neat.
such a good point.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's really, really cool, bud. Really cool.
Aw. Um, I'm just curious, Livy, why did you choose Miami?
So I was trying, so CU Boulder was Ossie's top choice when he was going to school. It was my very last choice because everyone from my school and the surrounding schools was going to it. And it just didn't feel different or interesting to me. And I actually was surprised that when I went to go tour it like about a year ago, I was like, oh, this actually isn't like as bad as like I thought it would be. Like it's like 45 minutes outside of Denver. It's in a beautiful place. I've lived in Colorado my whole life and I just
Sacramento.
yeah, I just like I totally see the appeal for people who live out of state. Like I totally see the appeal and why people would want to live here. I just definitely do want to experience something new and like be around different people. So Boulder was also $35,000 for my in-state tuition and the University of Georgia and the University of Miami were both only 40,000, not only 40,000, that's still a lot of money, but like 5,000 more than my in-state school. So,
Still an insane amount of money.
yeah, and so we went to go visit both of them during my spring break, and the biggest thing that I realized was the difference in diversity between Georgia and Miami. Like when we went to Georgia, I just felt like it was very white. And like I said to mom, like mom is very conscious of stuff like that, and I feel like I'm not because like I am a white person. But when we were on the campus, I was like, oh my God, like there's so many white people. Like, and then we went to Miami's campus and it was just completely different. And it's also a very good school. And I don't know, it was a lot. I got better vibes from Miami than Georgia. I think I would be happy at either one, but I think I'm glad that I picked Miami.
And you're going to study business?
Yeah, like business and like finance, and like everyone there like they said like half the student population, or like over half the student population like speaks more than one language.
That's awesome.
Miami was like a really random choice. Like it wasn't on the bottom of my list. It was just a very like I decided to do like apply like maybe a week or two before the deadline because I saw some girl in my class wearing a Miami Dolphins sweatshirt that I thought was like the University of Miami sweatshirt for some reason. So then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's like actually a pretty good school. And I'm proud of myself for getting in. I think it was really competitive this year, and I'm sure I would have found a good roommate anywhere, but I already like, I like found my roommate that I really like. She's from Boston. All the people are from the East Coast. They're all from New Jersey, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, like there's people from like a bunch of different countries. Miami itself was really fun when we went to go visit, and Georgia just didn't feel as interesting as Miami.
Much smaller campus. It's like a third the size. So it's, walkable. Georgia was a lot like U of M, which she's waitlisted for, by the way. And who knows what'll happen with that. Like if they sent her, I mean, I'm sure she won't go at this point, but if she had a good financial package, that it is a great school. But so the student body, there's like 18,000 in Miami as opposed to like 37,000 at Georgia. So I'm happier with the Miami choice because of that as well. I think she'll get, much more. They said the professors teach the classes and they also work, and, it just seems more intimate.
Yeah, I've actually never been to Miami, so now I've got an excuse to go. Olivia, I hope you don't take offense to this, but you're such like a sweet girl, but I feel like Miami's like, woo, party school. Like, so I feel like it just doesn't connect with me like Miami and you.
Yeah. No, I know. I've had people be like, you're not a beachy girl. Like, I just can't see you going there. And I'm like, thanks. That's so nice of you. But no, yeah, I totally get that. All the schools that I applied to, I really wanted to be like big, like party schools. Like, I didn't really want to choose a school that had like a small population or like didn't have sports teams, or I don't really care about Greek life, but just like having like a lot of like parties around and stuff. Like, I do really feel like I want to do that. And that's part of like with the high school experience. I don't feel like I got a lot of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Party it up.
Yeah. That's what she's looking forward to.
I'm sure you are too, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. That was more than one argument was had here.
Yep. $40,000 a year for parties.
For partying. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, you guys will have to come visit me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I've never been to Florida at all, so I definitely would like to come out.
Come on, Zach.
At
least Austin's been to Florida.
Yeah,
come on.
I got to visit Lizzie and Steve. I got to visit you in Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild. It's definitely you feel like a very different culture, and which is cool.
Yeah, it's like Ladybird when she gets accepted to Davis. Like, Davis, that's only 30 minutes away.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to a fucking agricultural school.
And that, oh my God, that was the classic line, because Libby, I wanted her to look at Fort Collins, and it's the exact same thing. Liv's like, no way.
No, it's not close. because it's in Fort Collins, but UC Davis is such a good school, so it's like funny that like she didn't like that wasn't where real experiences happen.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that was kind of my feeling too when I wanted to go to Colorado, when I was applying to colleges, and like all my friends were going to Chicago schools, and I was just like, no, I want to get out of here. But I did end up going to a Chicago school, and it was fine. It's like, whatever. You just go and you do your thing.
I was really lazy with the college thing. I only applied to Michigan State and I got accepted, and that's where I went. I didn't apply anywhere else. I knew I didn't want to go to Eastern because my brother and sister were going there. Like, well, I don't want to do what they did, but I was
Yeah.
still happy to be in Michigan.
That's still a little bit of a zag.
It's a little bit of a zag from what my siblings did, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of kids only, I have a lot of friends whose kids, or like the School of Mines is a big one here. Like where they, that's kind of where a couple of the kids that Livy went to school with, and my friend Jody's son, it's like they're just applying there and that's it and nowhere else, which makes it very easy. But it made it a lot easier for her to go out of state, with it being so expensive here. It's like, well, screw it. 30, $4,000 more a year. It's a ton of money, but not when you're talking about like a real experience. Yeah. And so I'm okay with it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this going off to college talk does remind me of Toy Story 3, actually, because you mentioned Toy Story 2 earlier, but Toy Story 3 came out the year I graduated high school. It was actually like the summer between graduating high school and me going to college. And I actually saw it. It was just me and my mom went to the theaters and saw Toy Story 3. And like the end of that movie is Andy. He's going off to college as well. So there's the strong parallel with me and Andy. And he's giving away his toys to like the neighborhood kid. And it was such an emotional scene for me. I was like sobbing in the theater.
Oh,
my
God.
mom was crying because I just thinking about my childhood is lost. I'm going off to college. I'm an adult now. And that movie had that's kind of a Ladybird movie for me in that way. The Toy Story 3, just thinking about going off to college.
Giving your toys away. Oh, God.
The same exact time I was going through that movie came out. So that was a good connection point for me and my mom when we're going through the same thing that you and Livy are going through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to wrapping up thoughts on the movie. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. Maybe could be in my top 10. I don't know, man. It's really good. We've talked about a lot of great moments in it, but there's still like a lot of stuff I feel like we haven't talked about. It packs in so much in 90 minutes. It's kind of incredible to think about. And yeah, I love this movie. It's great to talk about it with you guys.
Yeah, it's just immaculately written script. All the acting is pretty perfect. Greta Gerwig does a great job directing. It's her first movie ever directed. I mean, I think is
well, she did co-direct
feat.
a movie before this. This is her first solo directing.
She wrote and directed it. It's her baby.
Yeah.
The editing is fantastic. I love some of the editing in this, like just simple stuff like when she gets her like cast cut off, where it's just like trash, boom, and then it's like, it's just like a 5-second moment. Like they don't dwell on it at all, and in that way, it kind of feels like a Wes Anderson film, like where it's just like these quick like symmetrical shots, that just like kind of come in and out.
I like the color scheme.
Yeah, bright, like the kind of pastels and yeah, it's a really visually appealing film.
Austin, would you give it 100% tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, 100% fresh tomatoes.
I would give it a 90%, I think. Because it's not like as good as this movie is, I think just for my personal taste, it's not it's not like the kind of movie that I would go back to a lot. But I do like for what it is like a 10 out of 10. Like, I mean, there's no other movies like this that like capture this moment, like this moment in time, like early 2000s. Second, like a girl and her, like a mother-daughter story that's really accurately and realistically told. Going away to college movie, like a realistic high school movie. It kind of brings together a lot of elements that are very rare to see in a movie. So I think in that way, yeah, it is pretty perfect.
My closing note is that I definitely think, like, since we've talked about it so much and we like made a point of like watching it to all like talk about it together, and also because of like this very specific point in my life or whatever, I definitely feel like I will like always like remember like watching this movie and stuff, like with my mom, and like thinking about how like I'm like a month away from graduating and like going like 3 months away from going to college, and then like talking to you guys, like I will like literally probably remember this like forever.
It's recorded.
Yeah, we'll have an archive.
You can listen to it whenever you want.
Yeah, I can compare my old voice to this voice.
Yeah. How about this? This might be a little cheesy, but Olivia, can you talk to your future self, your post-college self?
Okay, in 4 years, I will rewatch this and I'll be thinking about how during this time right now, I am excited about going to school to go party and like make friends and hopefully earn a degree that I am passionate about, because I like making money, but that doesn't mean that I will like learning about business and finance. So I hope that I do enjoy that. And if I don't, I will find something else that I enjoy. And I hope that I will have studied abroad in college and will have experiences from that.
Nice. That sounds
Those were
good.
not good words of wisdom.
He put you on the spot there, so
Yeah. You did good.
I didn't prepare my speech.
Well, it was really fun, you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I love this kind of movie. And it's not treacly and it's not trite and it's not like a blockbustery. I mean, I guess it was a blockbuster, but I really like these kind of movies about, just people and emotions and life.
I do love high school movies too, like Napoleon Dynamite and Eighth Grade. Well, that's a middle school movie, but
Eighth Grade's good.
What was that Olivia Wilde one that I feel like was like a direct rip off of that movie and like has the same Goldstein actress in it?
Oh, Booksmart.
Yeah, Booksmart. This movie, I feel like Booksmart was trying to rip off Ladybird, but that movie was good too. I still enjoyed it.
One last thing that I got to bring up. Why did you guys hate Tar so much?
Oh.
You guys saw Tar together?
Yeah.
Remember they saw it the day before we did.
Oh, right.
That is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Livy can't even speak to it because she walked out of it.
Oh, wow.
She walked out.
I watched enough of it to know that it was bad. That's why.
For me, I was surprised. It was one of those things where it's like, this is this actor's like, Kate Blanchett, who I love. I mean, I have, like say Blue Jasmine, I think she's just the most amazing actress and I love what she does. But I just felt like it was, her just kind of doing a really great actressy movie. Like she's acting her heart out and it just didn't feel genuine. I don't know. It didn't feel genuine. Like I didn't feel it. I just didn't feel it. I felt like she was really acting, I guess.
Yeah, it could be a hard movie to connect to, and I could see that.
Yeah,
kind of a cold movie.
I just want to get you on the record. We're asking everybody their thoughts on Tar.
I could try to watch it again, and I might see it through a different lens. I knew Liv was hating it. I mean, so.
Well, the first 20 minutes are like a podcast, basically. It's just like her being interviewed.
Those are pretty good. I think the first part is actually that part I remember as being pretty good. But it reminds me when I went to see Sophie's Choice with your grandma, and she hated, she hates Meryl Streep. So the entire movie, I was like Mom is hating this movie. And it really, I liked it, but it really colored how I saw the movie. And then we walk out of the movie and Mom was like, wow, that was really good. I'm like, would have been nice to know that you weren't like miserable watching that movie.
Because Grandma hates Meryl Streep?
Yeah, how does she hate that?
I think she felt she's waspy, insipid. I don't know. I mean, this is back in the day. You'd probably have to talk to Grandma now and she probably wouldn't, maybe she likes her now. I don't know. But she did not like Meryl Streep. And, just so.
She's so contrarian.
Yeah. So exactly. Well, we all have a bit of that in us. So
That's for
I
sure.
think.
That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it is true that who you're watching it with, and if they're not enjoying it, or if they are really enjoying it, that's going to affect you when you're watching, especially in a movie theater kind of experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got to take that into account when you see a movie.
Yes.
But yes, thanks for coming on Film with Family.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
we
thank
love
you
the
so
movies.
much. And we love our family. I love you guys.
I love you guys.
We love you guys. That was really fun.
Yeah,
Please
thank you
edit
so
me
much.
out. Okay. Love you. Bye.
All right, love you guys. We
Bye,
were just gonna
thank
hold on.
you.
We have to do our little wrap up thing here. If you want to stay on.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
I'll stay.
Oh, I thought
wanna
we were
hear
all
Yeah.
going to have to sing a song together. Okay.
Oh, we can. Everybody says don't. Everybody says don't. So, if you'd like to check us out on social media, please visit us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Film with Family.
Yes, me and Austin are both on Letterboxd. If you want to see what movies we were watching, at Zachary Zweifler and Austin C. Pruitt.
Or if you want to give a take two or send us anything via email, you can reach us at filmwithfamilypodcast@gmail.com.
And don't forget to rate and review and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast.
Love
All
you
right,
guys.
love you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Love you.